platforms. We always appreciate your time. We know the interest in the coronavirus is out there, and it's getting more heated every day. More and more people are really concerned about what's happening out there. It's been a long and stressful week, but we made it till Friday. Looking forward to the weekend, but much again to talk about today with respect to what's going on with this thing. And you have the president's version of things and how things went in Washington, D.C. today.
Not only are we giving you updates every day here on Facebook, just giving you the facts so that you are as informed as you can possibly be. And that's what we want, of course. We want to separate the facts from the fiction that you probably see floating around social media. And we're going to get to some of those rumors in just a second. But first, we want to talk about the president's press conference from earlier today. The president praising governors all across the country for really cracking down on restrictions and guidelines for beating the coronavirus pandemic, especially when we're talking about California and New York, where they have these stay-at-home orders in place, which is basically what Governor DeWine has ordered for us to only go out if necessary. A lot of restaurants and businesses closing down. But this is what the president had to say about that, and a little bit of information about your taxes and more time to do them.
I watched what's been happening in California with Governor Newsom and this morning with Governor Cuomo, and I applaud them. They're taking very strong, bold steps, and I applaud them. And we're all working together. We're working very closely together, including those two governors. But I would say, based on the call, the media was there. I think we can say that with respect to virtually every governor in that call. I think every governor. We had almost all of them, if not all of them. And I would say that you could see for yourselves that the level of respect and esprit de corps working together was extraordinary. This morning, the Treasury Department also announced that we're moving tax day from April 15th to July 15th. So we're moving it out to July 15th so that people will have time and people will be able to, hopefully by that time, we'll have people getting back to their lives.
So you heard it there, having a little bit extra time to do your taxes. But they were also saying that if you're going to get money back, if you're going to get a refund, you might want to go ahead and do your taxes right now, because some people are really having some financial difficulties right now. And any extra money right now, of course, would be much appreciated until all of this stimulus package money business is figured out. Of course, we've been talking about for the past several days about how the federal government wants to be able to send each and every one of you, with some restrictions, of course, some money heading your way because of how many people are out of work, and they want to stimulate the economy because, as you've seen, we're having some troubles, obviously, with all these businesses being closed down and people forced out of work. So that's something they want to do. There's so many different pieces of legislation, though, and so many different ideas on how lawmakers want to try to get this money into the hands of Americans as soon as possible. But they're not going to recess over the weekend. They're going to hash it out. And hopefully by Monday, we'll be able to tell you how much money you're getting and when you're getting it. And
there's so many questions out there still, and we're watching you on Facebook tonight when you have your responses and your questions to what we're saying here. And it's happened pretty much every day this week. People are asking about, what about people on Social Security? I spent a lot of time online on this one tonight, and it's very, very complex. So if you're wondering about that, be patient and go online, go to the Social Security people, go to the federal government. They have some answers there, but apparently it seems like you do have to file an income tax return before you qualify for these payments. It's a big question. It's a complicated question. I'm sorry, I don't have the answer for you, but do your research, check on that, because if you have the money coming to you, obviously if there's something you need to do to get that money, go ahead and do that, and do it ASAP if you possibly can. We also have some breaking news tonight. Unfortunately, we have the second death because of the COVID-19 situation in the state of Ohio. Had one yesterday in the Toledo area. Now we are hearing about an 85-year-old man from Erie County died late this afternoon. That has been confirmed by our Fox 8 News I-team this afternoon. An 85-year-old man from Erie County died today because of the coronavirus.
Certainly a lot of information to unpack, too, and something that a lot of people keep on saying to us is, okay, we know that these numbers are going to go up. We know it's going to get worse before it gets better. Why are we not on a total lockdown? Why are businesses still open? Why is this not being enforced more? Well, this is something that's been talked about a lot, and a lot of different governors have had their take on it. And one of the things, too, that Governor DeWine and Governor Cuomo of New York have talked about is the verbiage used when we're talking about these types of stay-at-home orders like that's issued in New York, and very similar to what Governor DeWine has issued here, closing down many non-essential businesses and keeping things like the grocery stores going, pharmacies open, police officers are still working, obviously. Hospital workers are still working. You need these types of businesses to stay open, obviously, because they're considered essential. But the governors all across the board really have cautioned about how you term things. When you say lockdown, people automatically think or shelter in place that they're being told that they can't leave their homes at all, that you're not allowed to leave your home, even to go to the grocery store. And that's why they want to stay away from that type of terminology, because it's considered sort of an alarmist type of verbiage, because when people hear it, it's scary. It scares them. And so they're trying to stay away from that and using the phrase stay at home or self-quarantine, saying they don't want you to go anywhere, and they're hoping that people can be socially responsible and only leave their homes when it's absolutely essential. But they say, and actually the Pentagon put out something this evening about this, talking about how they want to dispel any rumors where people think that, hey, we're going to be under martial law. That's something that's not going to happen. They say that's something that's not even being talked about happening. You see all these National Guard troops moving into the areas, and people get scared. They take pictures. They send them to us and say, hey, look, they're coming. We're going to be under martial law. And the governor and the Pentagon both reiterating today, especially too, because it's been happening more, that is not going to happen. These National Guard troops are here for humanitarian reasons only. They are not armed. They're going to the food banks. They're going to be helping with things like that and helping to facilitate things, not to keep you inside your home. So do not think that. If something like that were to happen, of course, we'd let you know. But these rumors are really causing a lot of fear, a lot of panic. They're causing people to go to the grocery stores and load up on tons and tons of things. So we just want to, facts over fear, and we just want to tell you what we're being told from the people at the top.
Yeah, and the rules have not changed in the state of Ohio at all. Many places have closed down. Of course, you're aware of that. The daycares, not yet. A lot of people ask about the daycares, and the governor says the number of kids in daycare is declining all the time. He's not ready to make a formal announcement about the future of daycares just yet, but that will be forthcoming. But in the state of Ohio, we can still go outside. Most of us go to the grocery store, go to the supermarket, go to the drugstore. I was out taking a walk today, a quick little run, and people were actually practicing their social distancing. That's really the key thing. Even in the state of California, they're saying, well, you can go out. It's very restrictive in California. You can go out. We prefer you go out with just your family, and we do prefer you try to maintain as best you can that social distancing, but nobody's being locked in their homes, and that's not going to happen. The president talked about that today, and Governor DeWine also talked about that. That's not going to happen.
Someone had asked a question a moment ago here on Facebook saying, am I allowed to go visit my relatives, my aunts and uncles? So health officials are telling us, once again, we're not doctors, we're not pretending to be, but this is what the people at the top are telling us. They're saying it's best to stay away from as many people as possible, even if it is the ones you love, especially if they're over the age of 65. You don't want to be passing it on. Perhaps you don't have any symptoms, and then you visit a relative or a loved one that you just wanted to see because you haven't seen them for a while, and then you pass it on to them, and then they can become very sick, and obviously you don't want that to happen. They're just saying give it some time. We're doing it 15 days by 15 days at a time. That's kind of how they're looking at things. And they're asking people just self-quarantine for 15 days. Try to keep yourself as much as you possibly can for 15 days. Then the medical experts and scientists are going to look at the number of cases after that period of time and say, okay, well, what we're doing now is working. So then they're going to make the decision on what the appropriate next steps would be to do that. But right now, even, it's hard. Obviously, it's hard. Nobody wants to do this, obviously. I mean, people hate when their routines are messed up. They hate that they're being told that, it's probably best not to visit your loved ones, especially when we see the nursing homes aren't allowed to have any visitors. These are heartbreaking images. It's hard for people, and it's just something that, the sacrifice right now really needs to be made to try to contain this, to bend that curve and to stop those number of cases from going up.
And all the experts are saying that, and they're saying it emphatically. We need to make these sacrifices. There's no doubt, there's no questioning. You have to make these sacrifices, or else the healthcare system simply will be overrun. Let's go to the numbers now. The latest numbers we do have in from the state of Ohio. Now 169 cases in Ohio. That number includes 69 in Cuyahoga County, 10 in Lorain County, 10 in Summit, 6 in Stark County. The age range of those with the virus ranges from 1-year-old to 91. There are 39 hospitalizations and now a second death, as we reported to you a little while ago in Erie County. Mark Wagner was the first, a prominent attorney in Toledo who Governor DeWine knew personally. The governor announced that senior centers and senior daycare centers will close at the end of business on Monday, that the state is making provisions to try and help seniors any way they can, including with senior transportation and doctor appointments. Governor's also praising many businesses, but warning others that they are not doing a good job of keeping employees safe. While Ohio under DeWine was early with the restrictions, the governor pointedly noted today that some other states have now instituted more severe restrictions, and his prime objective here, as it's been always, is very simple.
That is to protect the people. As I balance that with our attempt to keep this economy moving, let me make it very, very clear that I will err on the side of protecting people. So, no announcement today, but the bad behavior, the reckless behavior must stop. And so, to my fellow Ohioans, for a while it's going to seem like we are, in fact, living in the valley of death. It will seem like we're living in the valley of that shadow. But we will get through this. We will get through this. The sun will shine again. It will be spring again in this wonderful, beautiful state of Ohio.
That at the end is exactly what I think we all needed to hear. So thank you for that, Governor. He did not close down daycares, as we mentioned, yet, but once again is signaling that such a time is coming in the not too distant future. He appears to be trying to give parents a time to figure out what they can do with their kids. And, you know, we talked about this earlier in the week. This does not happen in a vacuum here. You know, you make a decision and that's it. But there are impacts of all these decisions. The governor is really just trying to make sure everything is taken care of. That's his job as the governor, the leader of the state of Ohio.
And certainly some encouraging words, too. Of course, a very difficult time for everybody. Darlene had said, we were talking about how it's hard that you can't visit your family right now, or you're being advised that you're not supposed to because you don't want to risk spreading it to your loved ones. And Darlene Fairporter says, today was my mother's birthday, and we called on FaceTime. She's 71 years old, but it broke her heart. We feel for you. You know, we really do. It's hard. It stinks.
Tough.
Nobody, I mean, nobody ever thought that we would be in this position. I remember when we first started talking about the coronavirus several months ago. I believe the first case here was in January, but it started in China in December. And we said, oh, you know, this isn't going to be that big of a deal. But then it just ballooned into something that none of us saw coming. This is something that many of us have never lived through, and hopefully never will live through again. It's a once in a lifetime kind of pandemic that's happening to us all and changing the way we do everything. It's changing our daily routines. A lot of people are very structured and like having their routines. And so this adjustment is hard for them. And that's why we've also talked about the emotional impact, the mental impact that this is having on so many of us. Being stuck at home, not being able to visit with people, it's hard, it's difficult, and medical experts are saying make sure that you call your loved ones, make sure that you don't feel alone, and try to do what you can so that you don't feel as isolated. And a message that's really been put out there a lot is we're all in this together, because we really are. And so if you're feeling that way, don't feel that way. You're not alone. We're all in it.
And I'm not trying to be rude to Elizabeth here, but I'm looking at your Facebook comments, and we really do appreciate all the positive things you're having to say tonight. It speaks to what Elizabeth was talking about, the togetherness. Joe Ford writing love and prayers for everybody. Joe, we appreciate that very much. So many prayers going out, people thanking us for providing the information. It's our job. We're happy to do that, and hopefully we can soothe you in some way by giving you the information and hopefully giving it to you in a calm manner. I wanted to go to something else too, Elizabeth, that we did earlier in one of our newscasts. We said, you know, Is there something good that's happened because of this whole coronavirus situation for you? We asked the question, and many people came up with some positive responses. We can read them for you right now. Think of one positive thing that has happened. Diane writes, had a 2-hour phone conversation with my mom. Haven't done that in years. My daughter wants to learn to bake from scratch. I'm cleaning the house more, doing projects, getting things done, right? That's nice. A positive right there. Let's see what's coming up next here. We have Marissa, my husband, being able to get some, when we have time, projects done. I know all about those. Have plenty of when we have time
honey-do lists for you.
Always, every single weekend. But, you know, people actually have some time now. The dogs are not home alone while we both would normally be at work. And lastly, we have, this is Anna, working from home has been the best. I get to wake up 30 minutes before working, save on gas. I don't have to pay a sitter to watch my kids. And we were talking during the 5 o'clock hour today. I even mentioned, you know, we have such a frantic household. Everybody's running from place to place all the time. And right now, there's really no place to run to, you know. So we're sitting at home and we're talking and we're reading and watching TV. But it's really been great to have some family times. I rarely see my son, who's off working all the time, but he's been home. So we've had a chance this week to do some bonding. And my wife, who sometimes we pass in the night, we pass in the middle of the afternoon. She's coming home when I'm leaving for work, and it's been kind of nice to slow things down. And I go up to Huntington Beach and Bay Village and walk along the sand, and I enjoy that, and I relax, and I get some exercise, I get some fresh air. So, I mean, it's tough. Believe me, it's tough out there, and it's very stressful. But if we think hard enough, we can find some positives and make some positives out of the situation that we're currently in.
Well, now I can't find who asked this, but somebody asked if it was mandatory that your employers take your temperature before you come to work. So the governor pointed out the other day that it's not an official proclamation. He's not going to enforce it, but he is strongly advising that happen. And I know that we've heard from a lot of different employees saying that, yeah, when I go into work, I've had my temperature taken. I know my husband's a police officer, and he said that they've been doing that at his department, of course, which is comforting to hear. But, you know, some businesses are not, and that's kind of making some employees nervous. They've reached out to us and said, you know, I don't feel like my employer is doing what they should be doing to keep us safe. There's too many people in here. They're not taking temperatures. Some of these people, they seem a little sick, and it's making them uncomfortable. So the governor says when there's situations like that, you should report it to your local health board, your county health board. Of course, he doesn't want anybody to feel unsafe. And he did say earlier today, we played that interview with him from a little bit ago, where he said he's not doing anything about shutting everything down now, but he knows that some people are practicing unsafe business practices. They need to get on board, because if they don't, he's gonna, you know, crack the hammer down, or whatever expression you want to use. I don't think that's an expression. I think it's crack the whip and lay the hammer down.
Bring the hammer on. Well, you know, he was particularly upset about those young people on spring break in Florida, just hanging around the beach, running around, dancing close by, close to one another, and that's a bad deal. You know, maybe they'll be okay, though we're finding out that young people can also get coronavirus, but, you know, they bringing it back to their parents and their grandparents, it's just a mess. So he's just saying, please, you know, just common sense stuff. They're not asking too much of us, just common sense stuff. You know, I have a thermometer that really I don't use unless somebody in the house is sick, one of those forehead things, but I used it before I came to work today. It was a 98, so I felt good about that. Then at work. So if you can find a thermometer, and that's another issue right now, if you can find a thermometer, do that. You know, take care of yourself. If you get up over 100.4 is where they start getting a little bit concerned, then you'll know to call your doc and find out what the next step should be.
And so some people keep on asking too, what are some of the symptoms of the coronavirus? Of course, you want to be prepared and be aware of what's going on with your body, because they're very similar to what the flu is. But according to the CDC, some of the symptoms are fever, cough, shortness of breath, and some people experience other symptoms that are similar to that of the flu, but it is different than the flu. They keep on stressing as well. But also, this is kind of reassuring, I think, in my personal opinion anyway, that the World Health Organization is saying 80% of the cases so far of the coronavirus across the country have been mild. Of course, you have to be more aware of people with compromised immune systems and the elderly. They seem to be getting it a lot worse, getting a lot more severe symptoms. But we have had cases where there are younger people who are having some difficult times with these symptoms as well. So you just never know. You don't want to risk it. If you're sick, stay at home once again and try to see a doctor if you can. If you go to your you have to get a test, you still need a doctor's order when you're going up to these drive-through coronavirus checkpoints. So it could just be the flu. So don't freak out and think that you have the coronavirus just because you're not feeling well. That's why they want you to see your primary care doctor first. And there's different screenings online you can do, on the phone that you can do, and everybody's just trying to work together to put an end to this.
You know, I should point out, too, our web people here, and they are phenomenal. They're phenomenal on our web, and I'm not just saying that because I work with them and going to see them in a few minutes when we're done here, but they do a phenomenal job. So, you know, go to fox8.com. because they have so much useful information. All of the information we're talking about tonight is there in print, where you can go for unemployment benefits. If you have questions about coronavirus, anything, it's there. So go to fox8.com. You'll really feel a lot better about things. You won't feel out in the cold. You'll feel like the information is available to you. And you were talking about the warning signs, Elizabeth, compared to the flu. The big one that keeps coming back to me over and over again is that shortness of breath issue. I mean, that's one thing you can tell, like if you are really short of breath, if you're walking up the stairs and normally you can do that easily and now you can't, maybe, just maybe, that's a warning sign, but at least get it checked out.
You're talking about our website. They also have a list of tons of job openings that are in our area, especially. You have places like Amazon, Discount Drug Mart. The list goes on and on. We have several pages of it. It's over on our website, fox8.com once again. Jet's Pizza, Joann Fabrics, Marco's Pizza, all these places that are having a higher demand right now, where people are, of course, trying to get more food delivered to them and what have you. So if you're in need of employment, those are some of the places that are hiring. Just check out our website. Very useful information over there.
And just watching all the comments on Facebook Live tonight, it's just been really neat to see everybody bonding together and talking about one person helping the other person. That's what it's all about. So social media can do so well. And we're here to help you out, too. We will always be by your side. As the governor has said, we will get through this. We've been through so many tough times in our lives, and somehow, by hook or by crook, we find a way to get it done and get through this. Going to have to be patient, going to have to be friends and bond together, but we can make it. Just hang in there and know that we are here for you.
All you can do is take it one day at a time. And of course, like Lou said, we're going to be here for you. So of course, if you have any questions, email us, talk to us on Facebook. We'd be more than happy to talk with you and try to get you through this with us at the same time. We have the same anxieties that you do too. We have the same concerns. We have the same worries about our health, our family's health, and just getting back into that normal routine, which we took for granted, I feel like, and then now we so desperately miss being able to do these rudimentary things that we did on a daily basis. But certainly all of you doctors, medical professionals, first responders, everybody that's really on the front lines of all of this, we appreciate you so much. And of course, you have sometimes a thankless job, and we know it's difficult, especially with running low on some of these medical supplies. It's something we've heard a lot about in the protective gear, the personal protective gear. Thank you so much for all you do, and we're going to get through this. We're going to beat it.
Yeah, we're on board with you. Stick together. We'll get this done together. That'll do it for us tonight. Thanks again for joining us. Social media, we appreciate the time. See you again, Fox 8 News at 10. Thanks again.